Alright, fuckers, welcome back to practicing challenge 52. A challenge, an art challenge provided by Athoro, right? Link in description, broken draw? Why the fuck? It's because he's associated with him. They're friends, he's his mentor or something, right? Something like that. But either way, yeah, sorry, Discord in description if you're curious about the challenge, right? But either way, we're on week one. Again, this is just something I'm doing during my rest week right now, where I'm not trying to think too extensively, but still really figure out design, right? Because this is what I've been working on, like for the past 40 hours, 40, 50 hours of learning, which is, box, sphere inside the box, center line inside the sphere inside the box, and then trying to design over that while holding it. But, if I take a step back and focus on doing simple shapes, by the way, draw along, get your pen, get your paper, I'll fucking draw along, or fuck off, right? There's no in between. Maybe you're entertained, but, right, like we're trying to practice design, silhouette, all that shit. I feel as if like you can tell like this kind of like these four, and then like this was okay, and then slowly but surely I think with these I'm starting to understand it better. And yeah, that's just the main thing is trying to think about small little clusters of designs I was gonna do. I was actually like before I started, I was trying to envision something much more grand, but when I look back, I'm like, okay, let's just start with these small clusters, right? Like these small clusters are what can inform us. So we'll yeah, we'll start with that. And you're gonna see me do a lot of these bottom angles, right? Because that is what I struggle with the most. So that is what I need to practice the most, right? And the main thing I'm trying to focus on, clearly, right? The main thing I'm trying to focus on is just finding good silhouette, like finding a good balance between silhouette, design. What the fuck am I saying? It's so hard to fucking draw while you're thinking, bro. Trying to find a good balance between, and this is why I implore you, please draw along. My commentary is nothing special, right? But finding a good balance between like the size of the shapes, the ratios of the shapes, right? What else? What else? What am I else? What the fuck? What else am I trying to say? Like the types of shapes, right? The length, all that shit, the girth, all that shit. And more than anything, right now specifically the silhouette, right, which I think I can do decently with. I think I can do decently, right? So this is something I had in mind. Okay, see, like I'm fucking moving the paper and then my pen's getting in the way. But this is the perspective, and I might be cheating a little bit because in the first week we're not supposed to be doing any additions or subtractions or anything like that. But honestly, for my sake, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm trying to focus on having good design. And this is already pretty limiting, right? We're trying to design something interesting with boxes. That's already pretty limiting in a good way, because the limitations are what breed creativity, right? So, that's a breeding program I'd like to be a part of. There you go. And same thing here, right? Same thing here. If I were to bring this up, and again, let's just establish the thickness of these like so. There you go. Again, like, and then by the way, like while I'm doing this, I'm really, really trying to think about the overall shape and like the overall silhouette that I want, right? And I feel as if this is like a big part of what made people like makes concept artists great is the fact that they're always thinking about silhouette. I could be wrong because I'm not a great concept artist, nor do I really want to be a concept artist. In particular, okay, see, so this is misaligned already. This line is off perspective. What a beautiful mistake. We're just gonna have to pretend like I didn't do that. And yeah, just yeah, just pretend like I didn't do that, right? But I did do it, and now I have to face the repercussions of being shite, right? But okay, see, I keep fucking that up too. You see how that line is completely off. But yeah, please do draw along. My commentary isn't anything riveting either, right? But I am trying to think about the perspective as much as I can. Let's see. Okay, so this is something that doesn't. Okay, so yeah, it has to be like stopped right there. Something like that. I don't know. So I didn't connect these two properly at all. So that's obviously a matter. Okay, my iPad just restarted for some reason. No idea why. Yeah, literally. See, that's a mistake as well. What the fuck? I tend to, yeah, I don't know why my iPad just restarted. I'm gonna have to make these a bit bigger. Yo, what the fuck's going on? It's just in the corner there, restarting for some reason. But whatever, what can we do? Absolutely nothing. And I'm trying to keep like that horizon line in mind, right? Like horizon line, vanishing point. I'm trying to keep it in mind, but when you have to think about design, composition, not even in this case composition, but just design, silhouette, right? This is obviously a huge mistake I've already made, but you make your bed and then you lay in it, and this is quite the grimy bed. Wee. But yeah, please do draw. Right? But I do like what I went for here, which is that I attempted to create some sort of connection, right? Which I can respect that I made that attempt, because that attempt is really important, right? The attempts are always really important. But let's see, move this over here. What kind of, let's see, something like, yeah, I'm just trying to think like what kind of shape do I want? How far of a distance do I want it to be from this, right? I think you'll start to see what it is I'm making, or what it is I'm trying to make. It's nothing spectacular. Like I'll be, like I'm gonna be very clear, but it's just the idea, right? The silhouette of what I'm making is supposed to be, I guess, kind of interesting, right? Let's see. So I could also do something like, see, okay, so I already see how this is, I see that now. This was diverging, right? So I have to fix that. And let's add a little connection here. Actually, I should have made this in the legit perspective. Like the actually established perspective would have made things more I think unique in terms of design. But again, made the mistake, accept the mistake. Right? And some things I don't think make sense already. Because I'm trying to zoom out. I'm trying to zoom out as much as possible as well. Right? I'm trying to zoom out as much as possible and also think about connection, which is difficult in this case because yeah, that's difficult, especially because I stopped this right here. So I'm gonna have to do something else. Maybe something like this. Right? Maybe something like this. Right? And before I even commit to that, I need to think about what that entails. Well, it's probably, let's just make it something thin. I don't think this is a good design, by the way. I want to be very clear, because I didn't think ahead, right? So this ratio of this shape is not that decent. Even though the lines are... Oh, see, I made a mistake again. I didn't align it properly. It's good. It's also, you know, it's late at night, I'm tired, which are all good excuses to not try as hard, right? But... Oh, and I can make a diagonal here as well, so why don't we do something like... Something like that, right? This will be a diagonal box. And specifically, obviously it's still a bit of an addition, but... There you go. That still kind of looks mediocre, but... Right, just what can be done? Trying to keep that overall shape in mind, but I am fucking up quite a bit, which is good, because if I wasn't fucking up, I would not have... Oh, these lines are so bad. Yeah, that's just incomprehensible what I did there. But let's see, maybe this is also a box actually. There you go. That looks a bit better. Still difficult to understand, but overall, now if I connect this and I connect this, let's see. This, okay, so the perspective is still pretty off here. Like I had fucked up this line. Yeah, it doesn't really look that connected. But let's see, I can do something like this maybe. right? Okay, so I made a mistake again, but because I'm already doing this, I have to, let's see, and this is where the design's going to shit a little bit, so I really have to be careful as to how I position this. Something like that. See, these don't look really connected, so that's on me. But either way, okay, we're gonna move on because this is getting jumbled and I want clear shapes, right? So let's see. I'll do something like I'll bring this a bit further extended back, right? And what do I want here? Well, here I'm calculating, let's do something like that, right? Yeah, something like this. And then if I calculate it here, right, this is basically 1 unit up, 1 unit, okay, there you go, right? And then we got to make sure that we keep the perspective. There you go. I actually did a pretty decent job there of keeping this perspective, because it's hard to calculate something that's a diagonal but keep that perspective, right, aligned. That's extremely difficult. I want to be very clear, this is extremely difficult, right? So let's see, but this is obviously something that's okay, so I'm gonna make this a bit larger actually. If I think about silhouette, right, and what I'm trying to create like a little hinge here as well. So let's do something like that. So if we do that, then again bring this outward. Hold up. Okay, so we'll do something like this, right? Something like this as the hinge, which is already inaccurate because the perspective is off, which is good. Like, I want to be very clear, that's a good thing that the perspective is off. That means I have a lot of learning to do regarding perspective, which is never a bad thing because learning is really the only thing that fucking matters, right? I'm gonna allow this shape to be as large as it is. That's another important thing that I'm starting to understand, is like, it's okay to keep, oh, that's a horrible line. But it's okay to keep shapes, and again, it's so hard to continue this. These lines are looking very mid. But it's okay to keep shapes their size, right? Like, that's actually fine, you know. It's actually and you know, I'm not saying as if this is a hard rule or anything. I'm just saying that I'm reinforcing to myself that it's okay to keep shapes their size, because I have a tendency to not keep shapes their size, right? Like, I have a tendency to have shapes be there you go, something like that. Like, yeah, I have a tendency to sort of constantly try to make shapes small and detailed, and that's cool and all, but see, like, this is so much more readable. That's a silhouette in and of itself, right? Now what I've understood just through fucking sheer trial and error of silhouette, right? Let me try to explain it based on what I understand. Is like, first of all, the understanding I'm about to tell you will not occur until you go through that trial and error yourself. So let me make that very clear, okay? This is what I wholeheartedly believe, right? Which is practice. Oh, what a fucking obvious thing, but like genuinely, you will not internalize or conceptualize what I'm about to say until you practice it. But what I can guide you on is think as much as you can about the overall sort of general, vague, abstract silhouette, which is very difficult. It's taken me 70 hours of practicing this to get to this point, by the way, right? 70 hours, but doing those doing those helmet designs that I showed earlier, right? That was already 45 hours-ish. I have 10 other hours that aren't recorded that I did on and off prior to that, like last November 2025, right? And now I'm here, February 20th. Oh, it's my dad's birthday. Fuck. Okay, I should go message him happy birthday. He said not to disturb him, but I'm gonna disturb him all the same. But like, it really is just sheer trial and error. And I guess what I can direct you on where to sort of focus your trial and error on is, yeah, like those shapes. Okay, so I see I didn't think ahead here, so what I should do now, I'm gonna still go ahead with it, obviously, because I still want to get this shape down. But you see, like, because now it's drawing over. It's okay. One thing I've learned is like drawing over is not a big deal, right? It's just what it is. Yeah, technically it's not good because you are not thinking ahead. I will not deny that at all, right? But also, like, there's no need to be so serious about it. But either way, right? Like, the main advice I can give now is like, while you're thinking about the overall silhouette and the perspective and the lines, which are already incredibly difficult, by the way, to hold all those things in your mind. The reason I'm able to do this now is because my mind has simply gotten more efficient at holding all those things in my mind, right? Like, that's the only reason. So this is something very important that you need to understand, is the fact that everything I'm telling you, simply accept and expect that vast majority of it won't click for arbitrary 30, 40, 50 hours, right, of intentional practice. Not fuck around practice, intentional practice, right? Oh shit, see, that was a huge fuck up. Speaking of fuck around, that was a huge fuck up on my end, because I didn't see the perspective, right? I just did not see the perspective. I didn't see it as clearly as I could have, but that's on me. And look, that means that line is very shitty. Very, very shitty. But either way, what I'm trying to say is simply expect, yeah, see, that's horrible. And no matter how many times I go over it, it's not going to get better, right? But also need to stop drawing like this and just do my line like that, because that's a difficult line. So that's a huge mistake. Look at that. But yeah, the main thing I can say is, yes, try to keep the overall silhouette in mind. Yes, try to what am I trying to say? Yes, try to think about like shapes, like while trying to keep the silhouette and the perspective in mind. When you're using simple shapes or complex shapes, but obviously we want to try to be as simple as possible, try to keep them large, try to find a balance between big, medium, small. But how you do this is sheer repetition and trial and error, right? As you can see, right, this, as well as fucking like this and preceding 45 hours preceding this, right? Like, as you can see, it's just sheer trial and error and slowing down and really trying to think, right? In the beginning, your brain will not have the cognitive capacity to do any more than keep the perspective in its mind. Let's say your perspective skills are half as good as mine, right? That means it's going to take you're going to have a lot more trouble keeping the perspective in mind. And I'm already, as you can see, I have trouble keeping the perspective in mind, right? Like, look at this. I already struggle quite a bit with keeping this perspective in mind, right? So that's a big part of it as well, is like, yes, experiment a lot with different sizes and shapes and angles of the boxes and cylinders or whatever simple shapes you're using, right? Experiment a lot with them in conjunction with each other. Like, make sure they all do your best to make sure they all occupy the same space, but play around with angles, play around with connections. And the only way you're going to get better at playing around with those things is trying to understand for me, the mechanical things around you. But there's like a bunch of inspirations you can take. And this might be overwhelming, but the TLDR is think about the perspective and form, focus on your lines, and try to think about the silhouette, and try to experiment as much as you can with the shapes that are occurring, like the shapes you are drawing, right? And I can't give you any more advice than that, because the rest of this giant question mark is sheer effort and trial and error, and just taking your time and just constantly trying to keep those things I mentioned in mind, right? Because I hope, again, like, this was the trial and error, and this was just the past yesterday and today, right? Actually, was this just today? This was like 5 hours of work. I think 4 or 5 hours. 4 hours is this in this drawing, or 3, some shit like that. But yeah, sheer trial and error. But I'm gonna rest my brain. I will be back because I'm gonna do something very difficult and the perspective's already off in so many ways, but I'm gonna do something very difficult, but just try to connect this, right? I'm gonna try to do the same thing on the other side and connect it. And that's my interesting, quote unquote, interesting silhouette. Right? And the word interesting, by the way, is a fucking piss off. So if that pisses you off too, but interesting just means, what do I think will look cool, right? And then it inevitably probably won't look as cool as what you thought you could make. And then you go back to looking at things that you think look cool, and then you try to glean something out of that, consciously or subconsciously. You try to be like, okay, is it because like this is attached to that? Your brain, no matter how many things you think you're understanding or absorbing, will probably only really understand 5% of it max. Right? And then you do another 100 repetitions, right? And through those 100 repetitions, again, you're constantly just being like, okay, what do I think looks cool, right? And I'm telling you this phrase, what do I think looks cool? Because that took me fucking 40 hours of trial and error to be like, bro, I'm drawing too much in the frame of the thing I'm trying to do versus drawing in my frame and having the thing I'm drawing become the result of that, right? I spent too much energy being like, what looks cool versus what do I think is looks cool. And there's a huge difference because when we frame these words, right? For me personally, when I'm saying what looks cool, I'm trying so hard to be like, okay, like what is the definition of cool? What is the cool shapes that I see, right? What is the rules of cool? All that gay shit, okay? Instead of being like my gay shit, which is what do I think looks cool? What makes me hard, right? David Goggins. But anyways, I hope that helps a little bit because it took me 40 hours of trial and error to come to that mental frame shift in a sentence and conclusion, right? In terms of just playing. And I don't want you to go through that. I want you to skip that bullshit and just hopefully be able to apply it in your particular manner. Again, the work we do is the same, but how we think about it, the way we interpret it, and the things we focus on within the fundamentals can differ greatly, and that's where our artistic voice and ideation shines. I'm just trying to express that I went through a shit ton of trial and error, and this is my current understanding, and then I'll go through another fucking 100 hours of trial and error, and I'll come to a more evolved understanding, and I'm just trying to make sure like I'm as transparent as possible about hopefully what I can help with it. Yeah, anyways, fucking rest your brain, Vicky and co. I'm not gonna lie, I'm extremely intimidated by what I have to do next, but that's how we learn. Because, again, I have to see what's happening on the opposite end, right, while keeping the perspective. So this is a little jut out, right, and then we have this, which is also jutting out, and it's coming all the way down. Wait, no, see, I already fucked that up. Okay, let's try that again, right, because I need to be able to make sure that I understand the opposite. So there's a lot of thinking going on already, but I need to make sure there's an understanding of all the opposite things that are occurring, right, so this is like here, right? So if we bring this down, right, and then we try to, and then yeah, we position it slightly to the left because that's where it's attached, and then we bring it down again, right, and then we position slightly to the left, and then we go up a little. That's where this shape is, right, and then now we bring that all the way down, right, bring that all the way down. Why does that look so much longer than, right, and we get here, and then we have this, let's see, something like it's here. Well, I didn't even need to do all that, fucking hell, I could have just done this, right, so it's, let's see, so it's over here, bring it over here, right, and then in relation it's over here, and I can just bring it back a little bit. See, I struggle with the other side quite a fucking bit. I struggle with the other side, and we don't even see any of this on the other side either, so it's just this thing that's mainly like this protruding outward, right, and let's see, something like this perhaps, and then again, let's see, something like that, right, it's all about trying to visualize it on the other end. Oh, actually, I could do this to be like, hey, look, I understand that there is, and this is really hard to do, like this tiny, like this really tiny frame perspective alignment, right? Like that's why drawing tables is extremely difficult, and I'll probably do a couple table drawings in this as well, to be honest, like this perspective challenge, this challenge 52, because drawing tables is extremely difficult for me at the very least, right? But I'm gonna assume it's very difficult for many people because it's just very difficult. Like it's just literally you have to align multiple legs, right? There's simple box table, box, right? Like, and then upside down is even more difficult because again, like you have to expand the range of your perspective, and I spent like months trying to do that, and I still struggle with it quite a fucking bit. So, like again, I'll never understand how difficult it is to think and apply, and then think and then hold the thinking and then apply again, and then it's like, oh, hold it again, you fucking moron, right? You thought, but you didn't think clearly because I lost my thinking right now, right? So it's extremely difficult, and I will never understand the process of how difficult art is, ever, like literally ever, right? And I'm okay with constantly repeating myself, like genuinely I'm okay with constantly repeating myself. My arm is not as loose as I'd like. Not my arm, sorry, my thumb. It's not as loose as I'd like it to be. Let's see, something like that, right? Cool. And then we align this. And is there foreshortening? There should have been, but I fucked it up, so there isn't anymore. Right. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, my friend. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, indeed. So now the other question is, do I connect this? The answer is, I want to, just to see what it would look like. Like, I want to connect this just to see what it would actually look like. And it would probably look like ass. But I want to connect it all the same. Just to see, just for my own understanding of whether this design works, right? No more, no less. It's for me, it's like a 50-50 right now. I have a feeling it may work depending on the line placement, but at the same time, the line placement also doesn't have much to do with it because it's already fucking been established by this, right? So there you go. That does kind of work, actually. That does kind of work, and it does look like, oh, that's a pretty good silhouette. I mean, actually, you know what? I take it back. That's not bad. That's not bad at all, right? And oh wait, I fucked up. I actually fucked up. I should have covered this like so. There you go. But overall, this isn't bad. Also, this isn't what I was going for at all. I was going for a fucking train silhouette. Right? So it's pretty meh in that regard. But hey, maybe I can still do it, right? Maybe we can still, because like this would be the two wheels and then there'd be two wheels here. But like that's not what happened. We know that's not what happened. But like I maybe the intent can be seen, right? Maybe the intent can be seen. Right? Maybe I can do something like this. Oh, see, fucked up the perspective. Literally couldn't think. Maybe if, and this is like the small of the big, medium, small, right? Which is why it's actually even more difficult to do because every tiny little line you make is so much more important than in terms of establishing the meaning behind that line. That's all right. This is thicker, this is thinner. It just doesn't make sense, but it's okay. Right? I could even, we'll leave this. We'll leave this, actually. This looks okay. It's not a bad silhouette. I'll leave it. And now that we'll do another one, and this time we'll try to make it more, I'll try to make it more lever-based, pulley-based. I don't know. We'll try something. Right. Let's start off with something like this. Just a normal box in a normal world. And again, now like because I've been slowly focusing on trying to create a more decent silhouette, like in my mind and in the paper, I'm already trying my best to envision roughly what it is that I want to do, right? And it never ends up actually being it. I want to be very clear, like, because what's missing is knowledge and repetitions, right? I remember when I did BJJ, like the last year or the year before I became unemployed as fuck, and I couldn't support my love for the craft, unfortunately. But I remember when I was doing it, I talked to this guy Peyton, really interesting name. But I was talking to him, and I'm like, just gotta get those reps in, bro. Something along the lines of that. I don't even remember what I was saying, but I simply recall he said something along the lines. No, not something along the lines. He just said this. He said, "That's all it is, brother. Just knowledge plus reps." That's what he said, and I just smiled because at that point I was already drawing a fuck ton. I think it's before I started my channel because this was 2024 summer, right? And I just smiled to myself, and I smiled, and I smiled to him, and I just laughed. I'm like, 100% fucking right, bro. Just knowledge plus reps, because that's all it is, right? Like it's a big all it is, but it really is all it is. It's just knowledge plus repetitions. So many people have decent amount of knowledge. I think they're just lacking the doing more part, right? Like literally just doing more, right? The repetitions. Because we like most artists, even beginner artists, you have a decent amount of knowledge, but your knowledge, to be completely honest, doesn't mean fuck all if you're not putting in the work to actually apply that knowledge, right? Declarative. I know the concept of perspective. Procedural. I can draw perspective, right? Completely different thing. Same here. Like I can say, oh, I can declare that yes, I understand design because I analyze images on Pinterest. But now me, I'm literally trying to put it into practice, right? Practice. I'm trying to put it into practice to be like, do I understand it? And the answer is kind of, right? Like this, I don't know where this is going. There's a lot of things that I could do here to make this a little bit better. I feel as if I already kind of fucked it up, but I say that for everything, right? I say that for everything, so I should be proud of myself. Because I always stick to my guns, and I always say the same thing over and over, so nobody ever learns, not even me. But let's see, like, what am I doing right now? Why am I choosing this length? Why? Because I simply think this length, right, perhaps is a nice contrast between this length. That's it, right? And that's based off of, hey, there's something called big, medium, small. I don't understand the actual concept behind that, but I know that it exists, and I know that the general idea is that there should be a balance of the size and ratios of shapes. Therefore, I am now going to attempt to curate that balance by sheer iteration, right? And ideation and repetition. Voila, right? So, oh look, I know that things are usually connected like so via boxes. Now, I also know that this doesn't look like that at all, right? Look at that, I made a mistake, okay? Cool. Now let me try to figure out what I did wrong. Like here, again, like things aren't connected properly, and I have to be like, there's clearly some minor nuances in my perspective that are causing that. But again, we are going to close this off because I still want to focus on big shapes, right? Same thing here. We will do something like this. Already slightly off in perspective, but we'll fix it here, right? And we'll see where it goes. It's less about like I'll see where it goes as in I just fucking throw caution to the wind, but it's like seeing where it goes. Like let's see where me and my efforts go right now, right? Like let's see what that results in, right? It's still giving me power in terms of like saying the word it, like I am it. We'll see where me and my efforts go, but it also allows you to experiment and ideate. Now, is this really what I was thinking of? Not at fucking all. Not at all. This is not what I was thinking of at all. But is there something that I could do here? I think so. I think there's definitely something that could be done here, right? I think there's definitely something that I could do here. And that just comes down to repetition, right? Sheer repetition. As always, just repetition, visualization, ideation, masturbation, right? What else? I mean, ending it with that is pretty succinct. But let's see. And right now, like this is what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to think about something long, thin, that is attached to possibly something that's coming out of this, like so. Right? And again, like, is this a good ratio? Well, slowly I'm starting to understand, kind of space things out, right? Have variances, That doesn't mean I suddenly understand what I'm doing. It just means that I'm starting to at least apply the concept a bit more decently. Whether that concept is actually something that I want, it just comes down to, again, what a fucking surprise I'm about to say this, but practice, right? It just comes down to practicing and trying to see whether it makes sense or not. But already I feel as if the silhouette's kind of going to shit because I didn't really think it through, but it's okay as well because we'll figure it out, right? Like I said, like I'll just figure it out, Like, did I really mean to do that sort of separation? No, not at fucking all. Not literally in no universe did I mean to actually do that, but it's something I've created now, so I just deal with it, I live with it, and then I try to work with it and try to continue visualizing roughly what it is that I'm looking for. And again, like I love this, man, because everything I make is a fucking mistake. Right? Everything I make is just a fucking mistake and it's beautiful. Let's just go down here, go down like that. I already fucked that up a little bit, but something like this maybe, right? See, that line was way too thick as well, by the way. That line was way too fucking thick. And then obviously this kind of isn't really supposed to be a staircase. And I don't think this looks anything particularly interesting because the ratios for this design are kind of meh. But we will solve it. Right, we'll solve it. But first, let me actually close this because otherwise, well, I shouldn't have closed it like that because look, now this is gonna have to go over. But and dude, my eyes are like fucking zoning out, and I'm getting a goddamn headache because I can't even see the perspective anymore. Like it's zooming so in into this, right? So that was a mistake on my end, but yeah, like this is not actually what I wanted to do whatsoever. I was not trying to create a fucking tiny ladder that looked awkward in perspective. That's not what I was trying to do. But it is what I ended up doing, so now we just simply live with that choice. Right? Because it is what I ended up doing. Now we have to think, okay, well, how can this still look decent? This kind of, well, this end up kind of genius, non-stuttering, slow-paced speech, Viggy. Right? Still getting used to calling myself Viggy rather than my actual name, but it dooby do what it Viggy do. But that didn't even sound good or roll off the tongue, but we'll just keep going. Viggy is cringe, he accepts it. Right? Now, how can we connect this? Is the real question. Let's see. We'll do something like this. And maybe I can do something like this, right? Slight diagonal here. Let's see. Well, I'll leave that for now because I don't really have an idea for that. Right? Not everything is going to be some top tier design, and that's okay. I just have to think about what I'm going to be doing here now. Well, why don't I just maybe do a box like so? Right, maybe. This, just trying to figure it out, but yeah, like I did not plan for anything that what this was, right? It was supposed to be something long. I was literally trying to think about something fucking long, and I could not visualize it clearly, at all. So now I'm here, right? Now I'm here, and I've created something that I didn't intend to create whatsoever, right? Literally whatsoever, and I feel as if it's pretty subpar, right? So now the problem is, how do we turn what I believed to be subpar into something that actually is kind of okay-ish, right? That's also a problem to solve, right? So as you can see, again, like, what am I thinking about? To be clear, I'm thinking about the perspective, I'm thinking about the different ratios of the shapes now, I'm trying to think about silhouette, right? I'm also constantly trying to focus on my line. All those four things constantly juggling through my head, and I'm not really visualizing that much. I mean, I'm visualizing as I go because what I initially planned hasn't happened, but maybe there is a way for it to happen. I actually could have made it happen. I fucked up with this box, to be honest. I completely fucked up with this box, but maybe I didn't. Maybe it's still possible, right? I believe. There you go. Right, maybe I didn't fuck up, right? Qu'est-ce que c'est? Okay, so now I'm gonna rest my brain and I'm gonna come back and try to problem solve this into a decent silhouette that I can be relatively proud of, right? But I encourage you to rest your brain as well. I will say though, it definitely feels like something has been unlocked for me in terms of making more pleasing ratios and spacing things out when it comes to the designs. I'm not making anything particularly interesting, I know that. I'm just saying in terms of realizing that, oh shit, like, it actually looks relatively okay. You know what I mean? And we'll keep these, yeah, we'll keep these in this perspective, and we'll add something like this here, right? Yeah, like I know it's nothing incredible. Trust me. I like, if there's anybody who's aware that what I make is not that fucking good. It's me. But what I will say is I'm proud of the fact that the sheer consistency and just trying to figure things out and like spending literally I've spent so much time now. I know I've just been saying, oh it's just 10 minutes a day, but it's also 10 minutes a day on Pinterest that aligns uh let's see, it's 10 minutes a day on Pinterest like every single day, right? And that ends up aligning and meaning something, right? Like that does end up meaning something at the end of the day, right? Where if I'm just constantly trying to understand something for 10 minutes a day and I've been doing that for fucking months now, then it's like, oh shit. Like that did result in like this osmosis, right? This osmosis of understanding of this information. And that's something I can, kind of like puff my chest out and be like, good shit, Boogie, good shit. And that's something I want to encourage everybody here as well, right? Obviously, it's late night, it's like fucking 2 a.m., so I'm not gonna have my usual flair and passion, or I'm like, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. But genuinely, like, I hope that's something that you take to, like, oh shit, so I just, as always, the answer is just do more, keep trying to figure it out. Like, literally, as always, the answer is just that. Nothing more, nothing less. It's just do more, keep trying to figure it out. Do more, keep trying to figure it out. Lo and behold, you will figure it out. But you just need to be, what beginners and just you in general probably don't understand and have is the ability to be patient, right? The ability to be like, okay, first of all, the time scale in which I think I'll figure it out is actually 5 times longer than I think it is, right? Second, for example, you think you'll figure it out next week, you're gonna figure it out. You're gonna figure it out 6 months from now, right? So that's the realistic part. Is like you're not gonna figure it out next week, not to the standards that you have. And I'm gonna assume you have high standards, right? So you're not gonna figure it out to those standards. But what you are gonna do is you're gonna keep trying to figure it out, and you will figure it out. And when you do, it'll be clearly, as you can see, a much more compelling moment where, again, like, I'm just like, what the fuck? How am I starting to just slowly understand what these different ratios can entail, right? Like, I didn't come into this being like, yes, I will understand design. But my goal was like just this week off, right? This practice or this time off that I have, just take it to try to understand what you can, right? But I didn't come into it being like, yes, like I will have this extreme, I guess like much more competency than I expected, right? But I have now, and if it's because I'm constantly putting an effort to figuring it out, and that means you're capable of that. And again, even then, like things are very misaligned here, and I feel as if I definitely botched the perspective in many ways, right? See, like something like that. Like that doesn't really make much sense, and I'm trying to. Nah, it doesn't make much sense. I couldn't connect it properly, but I still want the silhouette to be relatively readable. So I'll just do something like this. There you go. And same with this, we'll just close this off. Right? And what do I want here? Well, here I can just say, nope, it's all on the same plane. There you go. And we can connect these like so. There you go. See, it's connected now. Again, trying to think about hinges and shit as much as possible, or these connections, because this is just with, this is like without cylinders and shit, right? So once cylinders get involved, it's gonna be better for me when I'm able to create these connections, and unique connections at that, right? Maybe I'll stick with this challenge 52 for a little bit longer. Who knows, right? Maybe. See, like this was actually a mistake, so now I have to do something like this to get the actual one down. But oh yeah, this is also incomplete here. They forgot about that. But yeah, it's not bad. It's okay. It does feel a bit incomplete though, so maybe I can add something here to to shift it. What if I do something like it's down here, then it comes out, follows this perspective, and we can follow that perspective, right? Bring it out a little bit more, do something like that. right? What if I do that? And this is actually connected to it, right? Like so. That would make things a little bit more interesting, right? And then this can be something that's very, or just narrower and thinner. And then I can have, and then I can just have a base. We can just have a base of small shapes, right? And that way it's kind of in line with what I've created. And this looks, I guess, relatively interesting, you know? But you see, I'm starting to understand it now. And again, I'm really trying not to use vague words, but I hope what you're able to see is like, oh, he's just connecting large shapes, and then creating some sort of small shape connection. It's not just that, obviously. Like, there's a lot of work involved in this. But again, it's all like I can only tell you what's worked for me, which is just focus on the form, focus on the perspective, try to keep silhouette in mind as much as possible, try to keep ideating different ratios of shapes, and through sheer consistency and constantly trying to apply that, repetitions, right, intentional repetitions, you'll get there. Like, that's all I can say, right? Because that's really how I'm assuming most people got to where they got to, which is just sheer effort, repetitions, and intent. But B, it's all catalog now, right? So don't ask, what do I do? Just ask, what do I want to accomplish? What does it look like? And what do I think that I need to do to get there within the reality that this is all fundamentals, right? Like, it's all fundamentals practice. So when you get to that point, then it's like, okay, so I just have to it's just trial and error. Like, I don't know how else to tell you this, right? It's really just trial and error, right? Like, look at this shape, right? Look at this shape, and then just 4 hours ago, look at this. Right? This was me trying to do the same thing, and then I'm like, okay, try having things connect. Again, then I went here, then I'm like, okay, like diagonals is actually a good thing, but how can I make use of that? Then I went back, and I'm like, okay, like different ratios, different sizes, different shapes. And then I went here, and I'm like, okay, I can connect things. I can really have repetition and connect things, right? And then I went here, and it kind of went to shit because I couldn't think about the perspective properly. And then we did this, and then we did this, right? And now we're here, where both of these look pretty fucking interesting, you know? At least, like, they don't look boring. You know, they don't, it's not as if they're fucking God's gift or whatever, but they definitely don't look as if, like, they're basic as fuck, right? So yeah, like, it really is just sheer, it's like, figure out what it is that you need to do, right? Try to, and obviously within the concept of the fundamentals and anything, but literally just any fundamentals, or I'm going to talk about form. I'm specifically talking about this, like shape design and all that stuff, right? And it's like, all right, and then just, okay, let's make it not as big. Yeah, there you go. See, like, I just realized, like, we don't want these and this to be the same size. Variety is, as they say, the spice of life. Well, whatever the psychology, oh, see, that was a fuck up in the line, right? That was a huge fuck up, didn't follow the perspective. But whatever that variety does to our, oh, that was also a mistake, because I was looking over there and I was like fucking wiggling my pen. Whatever that variety does to our brain, like, we like symmetry, but we also like asymmetry within the symmetry, if that makes sense. And you're not gonna figure it out until you just put in all the work to figure it out of your own accord. But what I can tell you is perspective first, you know, perspective and line form, right? Like, really try to visualize that, and then try to visualize a general silhouette. You will fuck it up multiple times. This was the correct general silhouette that I visualized. This was absolutely nowhere close to the silhouette that I visualized. Absolutely nowhere close. But this is the opportunity to problem solve as well, right? Like, it's an opportunity to problem solve. Let me actually bring this out all the way. Because let's see, again, like, experimentation. Is this going to make a difference? It's definitely going to make a difference in the silhouette, and my line could have been a lot better, right? But it's like, what will this do to the shape itself, right? Like, to the actual silhouette of this itself. And I think, voice correct, and I think, and I believe I'm relatively correct, that I think actually what makes it look a little bit more interesting. Like, again, there's a little bit of variety to it, right? So yeah, that does look pretty decent now. You see, but you don't know until you try. And the trying over and over and over again is the main part, is like, you're trying, right? See here, I could try that. And I actually have a feeling that this is not going to work as well. And I'm keeping it even for that sake, because even though I wanted to make variety, that's okay. But we'll leave it now. We'll leave it. We've experimented, we'll leave it, right? And it's been 49 minutes, so I'll do another small shape here. But, like, maybe not to this extent. But does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. perspective, form, and line, and then you start off with just like, this is obviously a way more advanced version than what athoro was asking for week one, like obviously, just to be very clear. But you start off with the boxes, right? And let's say you've increased tenfold in your ability to draw boxes and put them in the same space over the course of a year, right? And then it's like, okay, well, if you're at my path, or like even in the beginning where you're like, how can I design it? Well, in the beginning, if you're trying to design an interesting box, the only thing you have is the box, right? This is like, this is different, then this is different, then this is different, then this is different. What I'm doing now is just trying to figure out an aesthetic manner, a pleasing way, and ratios and connections to connect these boxes together, right? But at the end of the day, like technically what I'm doing is still trying to find a nice shape of the box that's different than the previous shape of the box, that's different than the previous shape of the box, right? And then just trying to ensure that symmetry exists. But again, like this connection I have here does not work, like this thing and this thing, because functionally it doesn't make sense for it to be this thin when everything else is so robust and rigid. How do I understand that? Because I spent so much time looking on Pinterest of helmet designs, sci-fi designs, hard surface designs, machinery, not as if I understand how they work, but just slowly trying to be like, why is that thicker? Like, how does that work? How does that pivot kind of move, right? Okay, so I have to understand what pivots are. That's where my cute bots practice came into play with Art1. If you click on my channel, you see I have a cute bots playlist. That's purely from the Art1 workout where they explain hinges and shit, right? And you'll see from that, I spent 40 fucking hours trying to understand hinges, right? And I came out of it with like a slightly fucking 5 to 10% increase in understanding, but now it's coming back here with boxes in simpler forms, right? So yeah, that's all I can say is like, you start off you always think about the perspective, line, and form, right? Those are the three things you're always juggling. But as you get better, the amount of cognitive energy you expend towards juggling those reduces. And then you can start thinking about silhouette, right? And then like that's also extremely difficult, right? Thinking about silhouette. And then it's like, okay, thinking about shape design, big, medium, small, which in all of its fucking generic vagueness and the word interesting, which is the way I interpret it, is just a shit ton of iteration and ideation on the ratios, lengths, sizes, symmetries of these shapes in tandem with each other, right? Like in conjunction with each other. Also just noticed I have a incomplete box. There you go. No, there you go, that looks better. Right, but that's what I make out of design, right? And obviously function, like does this make sense? How does this connect to this? But that's another fucking, that's a sixth thing you're adding onto it, right? It's already so difficult to try to fucking visualize a general silhouette and make sense of it while also ensuring that your perspective, line, and form are correct, while also ensuring that the shapes you're using to fill in this silhouette that you're trying so fucking hard to hold in your mind, but keeps changing, right? Keeps changing, completely fucked it up here, keeps changing. Let's not forget the perspective, right? Because if you're going in an angle this way, but your perspective is this way, dude, make sure you don't fuck it up. Look, I fucked it up. These angles don't actually like kind of, doesn't really make sense. This should have been much more clear, this angle, right? It's kind of actually tilted. It's not angled up like this. It's actually tilted like this, right? So that was a fuck up. That's a huge fuck up, right? But I just had to make it work. But that's the point I'm trying to make, is like it's extremely difficult, right? Like it's extremely difficult. Everything you're trying to do that's requiring a fuck ton of your brain energy is the drawing process, and it is difficult, and you are capable of continuing, right? Again, the same amount of effort that I'm putting towards this is the same amount of effort that I put in the first year, the second year, that they're like, it's all the same amount and type of effort, which is just fucking try to visualize, fucking keep your hands still, keep your mind like focused on that visual that you have, right? Try to think about the shapes, blah, blah, blah. It's all the same shit. You're just gonna constantly get slightly better over years and years and years and years and thousands of repetitions of sheer effort until you look back last year and you're like, holy fuck. If I could, like, I did not think I'd be able to do this a year ago. 1 year ago, 2025, that was when I just started my channel, right? So 2025, January, I could not fucking do this. Look at my second video on my channel, Practicing Fundamentals. Look at the box clusters and cylinder clusters I was trying to do. Now look at this. 1 year later, right? Like a year and a month later, or a year and 2 months actually, fuck. But just only a year later. Anyways, I'm gonna keep tapping my page. Okay, let me rest my brain and we'll do a tiny cluster, right? Because I've literally been fucking talking for 5 minutes. Wiki inspiration, oh, hashtag. Fucking, I'm gonna fam myself after this, right? In the gutter. Anyways, let me rest my brain. I encourage you to do so as well. If you're curious what I said I'm gonna fam myself. Like the whole hashtag Viggy famming bullshit I have, right? It doesn't mean anything. It can mean whatever you want it to mean. But actually, I did technically give a definition to Vigi famming like 70 videos ago, 80 videos ago, i.e. 80 hours of practice ago, right? Just to be clear, like every video is an hour of practice, right? Just so we all understand that it's all sheer effort, repetitions, and intent on the right things, because these are the right things, right? If you want to draw representationally, if you want to create realistic 3D art, or art, yeah, that's just realistic, you need to understand the right things, and you need to practice the right things. Oh yeah, that person actually responded to me. I know last video I was talking about how somebody on Discord was saying that they didn't like the grind nodes, and I basically said like repetition is important, some shit like that. Like it's a mindset thing, right? And they responded being like, well, I wasn't critiquing the repetition and the grind nodes, I was mostly critiquing the thing. And then they went on to say like everybody learns differently, not everybody learns the same. And I'm like, if the point you're trying, and I didn't respond because they're like, I'd be happy to take this debate onto the general channel. I'm like, I'm not fucking taking this debate anywhere. Like I see the point you're trying to make, but I'm not gonna argue that, which is what I'm gonna argue now, is it doesn't fucking matter how you learn. Repetition is the father of skill. Okay? Repetition is the fucking, it's literally the quintessential basis of practice is intentional, sorry, to be clear, intentional repetitions, right? Intentional repetitions. So don't say some bullshit like everybody, you know, not that I'm angry at this person or whatever, this is just me passionate about the topic, obviously. But yeah, don't say some bullshit like everybody learns differently in regards to repetition. No, everybody does not learn differently because everybody has to repeat their fucking journey and their practice a fuck ton to get it. Okay? It doesn't matter if you learn better through video, if you learn better through hands-on, if you learn better through blah blah blah. It doesn't matter, right? All those variables are important. Of course, we want to make sure people can learn as best as they can, right? But every person, no matter how they learn, what they do is repeat the fuck out of it. Okay? So there's no such thing as, oh yeah, we all learn differently because repetition doesn't work for me. Repetition doesn't work. Repetition? What an accent. Repetition doesn't work for you. I roll my R's, I swear I'm white. Anyways, repetition doesn't work for you because you have not learned how to enjoy repetition, right? Did you think I was gonna say you're lazy or a fuckhead? You are, right? If that makes you feel better, then, you know, if that identity makes anybody here feel like, yes, it's because I'm lazy. It's not because I haven't gotten the opportunity to train myself to enjoy repetition and to enjoy learning, then yeah, go ahead and believe you're lazy. But I will never ever, like, I'll say bullshit, of course, like I'm always talking shit and saying that, yo, beginners are fucking pussies, beginners are bitches, but that's in regards to mindset. It's never in regards to their capabilities. I want to be very clear. I honestly think most beginners could beat my fucking ass when it comes to like what they could achieve if they just practice the right mindset. That's what I believe. Like, that's what I believe. You know, it's just, I genuinely don't think I'm anything special when it comes to drawing or learning or anything like that, to be completely honest, right? But, yeah, repetition is the fucking crux. It's the crux, the crucible, or whatever I'm trying to say. But see, I already fucked up the perspective multiple times, because I am tired now, I'll be honest. I'm actually very tired of saying the same shit over and over. No, I'm very tired of, I'm never gonna get tired of that, bro. I love fucking saying the same shit over and over. I live for that shit. But my brain is mentally tired, which is good because this is the part where I need to really push through and really focus, right? Like really push through and really focus, because this is where I can make equally as good gains as before. But like, dude, it is an unlock moment for me right now to be like, okay, just space things out. Every time you draw something, either do it in a pair, right? Or make it a decent amount larger or a decent amount smaller. And yes, again, like, how do I know to make it a decent amount larger and a decent amount smaller? Well, what worked before, right? What worked before? Well, what worked before is having a small shape that was this size, and then it actually didn't look too bad when I had the same width of that shape, but then I just increased the height a fuck ton. Or I had the same height of that shape, but then I changed the width, or I turned two things above it, and then I extended it. How do we do this? Sheer repetition, dumbass, right? The fucking same shit as always. But yeah, like, repetition is something you are capable of enjoying, and that's why what do I always say? What do I always say? If you're a Vigi fammer, you should know, okay? Focus on the effort, focus on the errors, and derive enjoyment from them. And take lots of breaks, take lots of gap effects, 10-second breaks during your learning process, right? That's the effort everybody is capable of, right? So no, I already know her. I know her fucking username too, but I'm not gonna out her. But no, Miss A, right? Everybody does not fucking learn differently when it comes to repetition. I don't give a fuck who you are. I don't give a fuck. You are not special. You're not exempt from fucking Neurochemistry. You're not exempt from neurobiology. You're not exempt from neuroplasticity. Dumbass. Repetition is literally the crux. And this is and the thing is, like, I've seen this person's drawings. I've seen the effort they put in. They don't fucking put in that much effort. I'll be completely honest, right? Like they again, like all beginners, they say shit like, oh my god, this grind node fucking hurt my brain, and I'm like, that's learning. Like where have we gone wrong in terms of learning? Like is at that point, is it the fault of the system to never actually extensively state that repetition is the point? Like there has to be a problem with the education system to a degree, right? Obviously I know there's a lot of problems with it. I'm not saying there isn't. Like there's a fuck ton of problems. Oh dude, that was a mess up of a line. Yeah, there's a fuck ton of problems with the education system, but still, like, dude, at this point, if so many people just don't understand the sheer benefit of repetition, then and the point of repetition, how literally repetition is the point, then I don't know. I just don't know what can be done. Right? I actually have no idea how, because all I can do is keep saying the same shit, which is mindset, 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 because that's what it is. Like that's all I can keep saying, right? I can't do anything more than that. Let's see, maybe something like this. But yeah, I hope you fucker, you listening, you cunt, I hope you understand that repetition is literally the number one way to learn. Intentional repetitions, let's not forget. Focused repetitions. Repetitions where you're like, fuck me, this hurts my brain. Like it is right now. Like it is right now for me. Like repetitions in my lines are shit. Repetitions in my fucking ability to visualize has gone to shit. But I'm still trying. I'm still trying to make sense of it. I'm trying to think about some logic that I can add to this, right? But let's see. Maybe I can do something like this. There you go. That's not bad, actually. There you go. And we'll do something like that. Oh, that's already off perspective. There you go. Right. But where is that even connected? I didn't think about that, did I? Well, it doesn't matter because I'll just connect it halfway through like this because I think that looks good. Do I know that looks good? Fuck no, but I think that looks good. And then we can make one longer again, like so, and this one will be, let's see, even higher up. Now I don't think that looks good. I'll be completely honest. And this one will be thinner, which again I don't think looks that good because I'm trying to think about the perspective. But see, like I'm trying to be as vocal as I can about my thought process. So anybody listening is very aware, like, okay, he's thinking about this, he's thinking about perspective, he's trying to ideate on different shapes, he's trying to figure out forms, he's doing all these things that he's being very clear on actually take a fuck ton of time to even get to this point to be able to ideate like this, right? Like that's also the point, is like I didn't do this all at once. I'm literally only now, if you think about it technically, only now am I capable of doing what I'm doing now. That makes sense, right? Like only now I'm been capable of doing the thing that I'm doing now. So again, that's only because of sheer repetition. Ohana means repetition. Okay, so now that I've done that, right, we can do something like this, bring it back. Let's bring it back. Oh, let's bring it back. This silhouette is kind of mid, I'll be honest. Maybe I can do something like this. Oh, that line is not good. Yeah, this silhouette is pretty, it was getting decent prior. It was pretty okay, and now it's just not that good. Which is okay, because I'm learning, like this is just not, it's just kind of in the way. It doesn't really add, or it just doesn't do anything. But now that I know, like, okay, well, why doesn't it do anything? Because there's no negative space. You see, what is this tiny little spot here? It needs to be, this, if anything, should have been smaller, right? But the negative space, what am I saying, space? Face? But the negative space is just pretty mid all around. That's fine. That's, again, it's like I feel good. It's a learning experience, you know? And that's something we can all train to feel good from a fucking learning experience. Okay? Come on now, repeat after me. Focus on the effort, focus on the errors, derive enjoyment. I'm actually really impressed with the fact that I'm able to think and draw at the same time. Like I've gotten pretty fucking good at this. I'm not gonna lie. Like, yeah, I'm not like some god at it, but I will be because I'm already at this level. Fucking, oh dude, I completely should have made this a lot closer. Never mind, I'm garbage. carry on. It was simply hubris at play again. Right there's nothing of interest here. Right, and then it comes out a little bit, and then we can. Again, like I gotta think about the perspective. It's something like this. There you go. Right. And I have to see the other side. Right, cool. Let's see, something like that. There you go. Actually, no, the perspective's a bit off. It's too much. It's a bit off. I'm gonna have to fucking do some shit like this to make it seem like it was all part of the plan. Okay, and then again. And I'm trying to like balance that thing. Like Kim Jong-il always said, like he tries to have like a third eye that he thinks about, like an eye on the back of his head. That was also very off. Jesus Christ, my lines are going to shit. But he always like that's. I try to think about it that way too. Is like, what would this actually look like if I was there, right? And that tends to help a decent amount. I'm not saying it's like the most helpful thing because that's also a skill and a mindset and literally like a mental perspective shift that has to occur, right? This is also not that good, like what I've done here. Okay, see, this is misaligned, so I fucked that up too. But this is why drawing tables is fucking difficult, because of shit like this, to be honest. But yeah, like it's a mental shift is what I'm saying. Like even just thinking like that, even thinking in that sense where it's like, oh, I have an eye, a third eye that's constantly analyzing the world around me. But I will say today's been a huge shift in terms of my understanding of. Oh, see, I fucked that up too. God damn it. Yeah, today's been a huge shift in my understanding of design. Like I'm literally looking everywhere around me. I'm like, oh, I'm actually starting to see design in these different shapes and these different variables. Like it's crazy. That doesn't mean that, again, that does not mean tomorrow I will be 10 times better. It means 5 months from now I will be twice as good, okay? And it's better to undersell and underthink and be like, I might, like, it's only gonna be a little bit better. So you can consistently keep offsetting the reality to the, like, to just the response, sorry, you can keep offsetting, this is how I think about it. I think extremely long term and I undersell how much progress I'm going to make or I am making in order to offset the responsibility of the big question mark of my skills and where I'm going and what do I want and this, that, and all the other and the indecisiveness to the future, because it gives me the answer that it will be a long time. And thus that allows me to reframe myself, reground myself back to the present and just focus on the task at hand, because now I've already accepted it's gonna take 40 years to be good. I've just accepted that. It's gonna take 40 years. No matter how many times in my mind, back and forth, I'm constantly like, man, I'd love to reach that skill. Or I look at a fucking drawing Kim Jong-il did, like that's posted on his, like that the account, right? A SuperAni account, or I look at a drawing by Carl Kapinski, or I look at a fucking thing that Antonio from ArtWad, the founder of ArtWad's done, right? Or I look at a fucking broken draw video and I'm like, I can't wait to fucking get there. You know, you get impatient because anybody who wants to learn anything is like, oh, I can't wait to get there. Yeah, also the lines here are definitely off, the perspective's off here. 100%, 100 fucking percent. Holy shit, the perspective's off. Look at that. Look at this. Like it's like this versus this, right? Oh my god. Yeah, and there was a lot of mistakes here in general, but hey, like with all those mistakes, it's still a pretty okay silhouette. I felt as if I think the shapes could have been a lot better. Like this thin shape doesn't really inspire much in my opinion. But now the question is why, right? I think it's probably like too much thin, right? There's no variety, even thickness, maybe something's off there. But I'm slowly starting to understand that a little bit, which is nice, which feels really good. But yeah, like I basically when I look at really good artists, you know. Yeah, I get extremely inspired, but there's still that part of me that's just like, bro, I can't wait to get there. I can't wait to get there. I'm no longer impatient in the sense that I know it's going to take me a long time, but I still get that feeling. By the way, I'm done drawing, so if you don't give a fuck about what I have to say, just click like, you know, subscribe, watch every video, and then fuck off my channel and never come back until you've done all those things, right? So, but this is just me, hashtag, why am I hashtagging? This is just me fucking talking, thinking out loud. If you give a shit about Viggy the artist, here's me, right, speaking, but Like, yeah, I look at all these artists who I look up to, who inspire me, right? Like, dude, I look at fucking Broken Draw slash Cheeran's video, right? Or I go on his stream and he's drawing, and I'm like, I just want to bother him with so many questions, but we're not actually friends, I don't think. Like, I think we're just generally acquainted via art. I had like a 4 hour conversation with him once. We did a live stream after that 4 hour conversation, and then he took it down because he's like, you fucking swear too much. And it was like an actual talk. He's just like, I can't associate that with my brand. I'm like, yeah, no worries. He's a really chill guy. But after that, he's been busy doing his own thing. It actually sucks because I would love to have like a genuine art friend. And he's in Montreal and I'm in the GTA area, right? Am I doxing him? No, I think he's mentioned he's in Montreal multiple times actually. But the point is, when I see his art, me fucking moaning about not having an art friend aside, when I see people like of his skill levels art, of course I can't wait to get there. Of course. But then I just do my best to reframe to be like, well, it's gonna take 40 years, so just shut the fuck up and get back to doing the work now, right? And that's what I encourage all of you to do. Shut the fuck up, click like, subscribe, and get back to work. Especially the first three, and preferably not the third or the fourth. Was that the fourth? Yeah. If you draw, that's competition, and I despise competition clearly from my vocabulary. But no, like everybody, the more people that draw, the better, because the more people that we are, like we the people are going to prove that anybody can fucking draw. Anybody can draw, right? I don't give a fuck about talent. But with that being said, right, as always, fuck you for watching, keep drawing, and please, give me money.